Hi everyone. You know how in manufacturing there is something like Lean, Six Sigma and continuous improvement, all of which is about eliminating waste. Well, in the world of business, and particularly in business development and authentic selling, what you want to do is making sure that you also avoid having waste in the process. And therefore, there is a concept that I would like to call the leaky bucket syndrome. The leaky bucket syndrome means that you're basically having at times where you're putting a lot of things into your bucket, as in leads. You're putting a lot of advertising in that then generates leads and maybe some appointments or requests and calls and so on and so forth. But as you're putting more and more and more into the bucket, because the bucket has got holes, you're basically getting a lot of wastage coming outside of the bucket, never really eventuating, and basically just costing you money rather than making it for you. And so what I would like to do over the course of the next few videos is to show you how you can avoid some of the really costly mistakes in business development and selling as part of your process, and really segregated per stage in the buy-in cycle. Let's have a look at each stage one by one.
There's a saying that goes, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. And from a buyer's perspective and a sales cycle perspective, we know that there's 8 vital steps. So our idea is to re-examine all of those stages one by one, ensure there is no leaky bucket in either one of them, and so that every stage in the cycle and as part of the process is as strong as it can be so that it contributes to a strong chain. Stage 1 is called the planning stage, and there's 4 costly mistakes that we want to avoid making so that we have a strong chain to rely on. The first one is thoughtless action, and I'm one of the first people to put up my hand because in the early stages of my business, because I'm a highly action-prone individual, I would easily launch myself into action without really thinking through what the outcome should be or if that was really the best approach altogether. And so thoughtless action is one of those key components that in small or large organizations is really important to get right. You don't just want to act for the sake of it or be busy to just keep up with the expectation of being busy. You want to make sure that the action is guided, strategic, well-directed, and it's a good investment of time. Secondly, no clarity. Again, whether small or large organizations that I've worked with over the years, it's very clear that the great and highly successful organizations have great clarity, but also there's a lot of leaky bucket challenges that other organizations experience because there is no clarity about who the ideal client is, where they can find them, how they will appeal to them, and how to really separate the great clients from the not so great clients, because often businesses become reactive and they just take on any business for the sake of making money rather than really specializing and know exactly who they serve best, where the work is really profitable and highly enjoyable at the same time as well. So having clarity about who you want to serve, how you're going to go about serving them, and how the client journey may look like over time, that is again part of the planning stage. The next one is no structure. I see time and time again people that are either too structured and therefore they stifle the actions because of too much structure, but also those that have no structure whatsoever, and it's basically haphazard, the approach they take from week to week or even day to day. And so if there is no structure, well, structure is really one other factor that we want to ensure to have. As long as the structure is meaningful and conducive to great outcomes, that will help. But definitely a lack of structure is going to take away from. And then last but not least, it's no focus. If we don't have a focus in terms of what we're trying to achieve, how we're going to go about it, and how to really invest our time for a good outcome, well, then again, we're having a leaky bucket and it's our job to do something about it.
So these are some of the costly mistakes to avoid per stage as we talked to it in the video. Let us know what your thoughts are, your questions perhaps, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. My name is Bram.